Welcome to this webinar, which provides information about early years education inspections, which are carried out by the Department of Education inspectors in early learning and care settings. In 2014, the Department of Children and Youth Affairs requested the Department of Education and Skills to develop an early years education inspection model for settings participating in the Early Childhood Care and Education programme. In 2015, the Inspectorate in the Department of Education and Skills recruited early years inspectors and developed a model for early years inspection. This model was brought to the early years sector for extensive consultation. In 2016, the model was officially signed off by the Minister for Education and Skills and the Minister for Children and Youth Affairs. On the 14th of April 2016, early years education inspections began. To date, in excess of 2,500 early years education inspections have been completed and associated reports published. The Inspectorate has the responsibility for evaluating and advising in a wide range of education settings. Our work is underpinned by 4 key principles, which are detailed in our Code of Practice. These principles are a focus on learners, development and improvement, respectful engagement, responsibility and accountability. We are committed to carrying out our inspections in ways that provide real opportunities to affirm good practice and provide practical advice to improve learning experiences and outcomes for all children. The early years education inspection model is informed by the principles of ASHTR, the Early Childhood Curriculum Framework, and by SHIELTA, the National Quality Framework for Early Childhood Education. Early years education inspections evaluate the nature, range, and appropriateness of the early years experience of children in early learning and care settings, providing the state-funded ECCE programme. The inspection provides external evaluation, advice, and support regarding the quality of education provision in your early learning and care setting. The following principles underpin the early years education inspection model. Early childhood is a distinct and significant time which must be valued and nurtured. Play is central to young children's development and learning. Children's strengths, needs, opinions, interests, and well-being are integral to early education. The roles of parent and practitioner are central in early education. The Department of Education Early Years Education Inspections has many aims. It is designed to highlight the importance of high-quality early learning and care in nurturing the foundations for children's lifelong learning and to support children develop to their full potential now and into the future. It aims to identify and affirm good educational provision in early learning and care settings. It aims to support the ongoing quality development in settings through the provision of support and advice to practitioners. This advice and support focuses on how the children's learning experiences and achievements can be further developed or improved. It is intended to complement other measures to support continuing improvement, such as mentoring or support from the Better Start Quality Development Service and the online ASHTR SHIELTA Practice Guide. Early years education inspections also aim to support self-evaluation and review processes within early learning and care settings. Another key aim of the inspection is to provide quality assurance of the early education experienced by children participating in the ECCE programme. We do this by providing information on the quality of preschool education to the public, including the children's parents, through inspection reports. These reports are published on the DES website and are freely accessible. The Early Years Education Inspection aims to affirm and assure quality in early years education and to support improvement through respectful co-professional engagement. As we have seen, early years education inspections are based on a quality framework that is informed by the principles of Asher and Shieltha and national and international research related to early years education and care. This framework also incorporates key elements of best practice in early years education. The framework focuses specifically on the processes and experiences that support, enrich, and optimize early learning development and well-being of the children participating in the ECCE programme. It places a central focus on play. The framework consists of 20 broad outcomes. These outcomes illustrate what effectiveness in early years education looks like, and they are organised into 4 areas. Area 1 looks at the quality of context to support children's learning and development. Area 2 focuses on the quality of processes to support children's learning and development. In Area 3, the quality of children's learning experiences and achievements is evaluated. Area 4 examines the quality of management and leadership for learning. Each of the 20 outcomes within these 4 areas are described and illustrated by a number of possible signposts for practice. These signposts are neither prescriptive nor exhaustive. It is not expected that all signposts will be evident in a setting. Let's have a closer look at one of the 20 outcomes and some sample signposts for that outcome. Area 1 evaluates the quality of the context to support children's learning and development. It has 3 outcomes. Outcome number 2 states that relationships are responsive, respectful, and reciprocal. Now, there are 6 signposts for practice for this outcome. And remember, they are not prescriptive or exhaustive, but they do describe practice. 2 of the signposts in outcome 2 are: practitioners foster caring and respectful relationships. Parents are aware of who their child's key practitioner is. Take a moment now to reflect. Are these signposts for best practice present in your setting? Think, how would an early years inspector observe these 2 signposts in your setting? As you can see, while the quality framework forms the basis of an early years education inspection, it can also be a very valuable tool to support your internal review, reflection, self-evaluation, and quality improvement within your setting. The quality continuum used by inspectors to evaluate each of the 4 areas of the framework has 5 levels. They range from excellent to very good to good, fair, and poor. Each quality level has a clear descriptor of what practice at that level looks like. Provision that is excellent is exemplary in meeting the needs of children. Provision that is very good is highly effective in meeting the needs of children. Provision that is good is effective in meeting the needs of children, but with some aspects to be developed. Provision that is fair requires practice to be improved to meet the needs of children. Provision that is poor is inadequate and requires significant improvement to meet the needs of children. The majority of early years settings inspected to date are good to very good. This means that they are effective in meeting the needs of children, with some aspects to be further developed and improved. Now, let's have a look at a typical early years education inspection. Typically, early learning and care settings are notified of their upcoming inspection by telephone call 2 working days in advance. During this phone call, the inspector will explain the inspection process, agree times for meetings, and answer any questions you may have. The inspection focuses on the interactions and the processes that take part in a normal, typical preschool session. If you are the person in charge taking this call, you will be asked to inform management, staff, parents, and children that an early years education inspection is going to happen in your setting. It can often help to post a notice for parents as well as telling them verbally. Informing the children that a writing visitor will be in the room tomorrow will ensure that children are kept informed and that they are prepared. This phone call is followed up with a confirmation email. The guide to early years education inspection will be attached to this email for your convenience. It should be noted that at times the Department of Education Inspectorate may occasionally conduct an early years education inspection without prior notice. Now let's look at what happens during inspection. Most inspections are conducted by one inspector over one day. However, in larger early learning and care settings, the inspection may be conducted by 2 or more inspectors over a few days. On arrival, typically the inspector will meet briefly with the manager. But the main activity of the inspection is observation of learning activities, review of the indoor and outdoor learning environments, interactions with staff and children, and review and discussion of available curriculum documentation. At the end of the inspection, the inspector will meet with the manager and staff to share the draft findings, to acknowledge and affirm effective practice, and to discuss actions advised to support development and improvement. After inspection, a draft report is written and sent by email to the manager for factual verification. At this stage, the manager is asked to read the report and has an opportunity to draw attention to any statements which they believe to be errors of fact. Then, the final report is issued a second time, again by email, to the manager for setting response. At this stage, the manager is invited to submit a written response to the report, and this response is included in the report as an appendix. Finally, the Early Years Education Inspection Report is published on the Department of Education and Skills website. Here is a list of further information and resources which may support you. This brings us to the close of this webinar, and we would like to thank you for listening. We hope it provides helpful advice. If you have any direct queries or comments arising from your engagement with this webinar, please use the dedicated email address provided to send your comments to us: insights_info@education.gov.ie. Thank you.